G'day guys, welcome back to another review on the channel. Today I'll be reviewing Sydney versus Collingwood, the clash that occurred at the MCG yesterday, and it was the Pies getting it done by 30 points in the end. So yeah, let's get straight into the review. So yeah, a pretty interesting game, that's for sure. Not much to take out of it. Just a really good and positive result for us. Just a game that we just needed to get a result out of, really. Seeming Sydney's horrible start to the season now, they're in a lot of trouble, that's for sure. And yeah, I guess yeah, just massive benefits. Just banking in results. And yeah, we lock in first spot for another week, which is pretty handy. But yeah, look, not massive. Not much really to take out of it. Not a massive performance at all. I feel like our best quarter was obviously our fourth quarter. Our first quarter, well, at least the first half of it, was, I thought, pretty good, and overall, the first half was pretty good, except for the second half of the second term, which was quite frustrating, seeming basically that's all of Sydney's good play, and they kicked 4 or 5 goals in that play, and they kicked 6 for the game, so that was a little bit frustrating. The third quarter, not much really happened, but then we just broke away and managed to get a nice result in the last quarter. And obviously Sydney had heaps of players, just chipping it around, heaps of possessions. There were a few star players, that's for sure, on their side. Luke Parker, Errol Goulden, Ollie Florent, Callum Mills, Jake Lloyd, Chad Warner, Justin McInerney was back to his best, Robbie Fox, Nick Blakey, just to name a few. They were all amazing for Sydney, and I thought the defence was pretty good. I feel like we were bombing it in a little bit early, but once we figured out that Myercheck was hot, we were able to get it to him, which was great to see, because he finally kicks his 5 goals. He's finally broken it. He's kicked 4 goals 5 or 6 times in his career, and he's finally managed to bag in his 5 goals. He was fantastic. He's having a sensational season. He's equal 7th, I believe, now on the Coleman, which is just absolutely fantastic. And a game where not too many goals were kicked. He was the only multiple goal scorer and kicked 5. He was absolutely humongous and instrumental in the win. Basically being the main reason. Sydney just couldn't stop him. And we figured that he was hot in the third quarter, and that's when he started to get on a run. Obviously his best goal was that 4th one in the final quarter. Just the awareness, just the smartness to just get a boot on it and kick, obviously, probably one of the goals of the year. And he's up there with Will Ashcroft's goal for goal of the year. Another player that I thought was also pretty good, especially in the first half, in terms of his leading, was Ash Johnson. I feel like he's probably done enough to hold his spot. He kicked the goal, but only had the 6 touches. I mean, he wasn't massive, but he was doing his job, and that's all you got to do. And yeah, he's filling the Dan McStay role very nicely. There's a few other players that I thought were sensational for us. Billy Frampton, he's just having a fantastic season. He's really benefited from going into the ruck, playing on ball. You know, he kicks a goal game, has 15 touches. He got 32 hit outs too yesterday, and yeah, he was just massive to our win as well. His goal was very important. I thought Jack Ginnivan came on it as the sub, and he was sensational. He was absolutely fantastic, Jack. So yeah, congrats to him. He's probably done enough to just stay in the best 23 now, as we call it. So yeah, he was also very good. Isaac Quainer probably had his best game of the season as well. He looked very good down back. Again, Hoskin Elliott probably had one of his best games of the season. Jamie Elliott looked dangerous, which is good to see. Noble just continuing his great season. Same with Nick Dacos. Pendlebury as well. Just a fantastic game. A little bit of a concern for Taylor Adams. Getting a little bit of a knock to the knee. Hopefully he's alright, because he was very important to the win as well. And yeah, just a few other players, the usual: Josh Dacos, Mitchell, DeGoey, Chris, but they all started to get going once we got on top in the second half as well. few players that were obviously pretty poor. Obviously the player that got subbed out in Bobby Hill, he had an awful game, and obviously it was the right move to sub him out. But yeah, hopefully for him he can stay into the 23, especially seeming. He's got a big clash ahead of him against his former team this weekend. Another one that wasn't necessarily too good. He only got the 2 disposals, didn't kick a goal. He's pretty poor, but he actually was all right in the second half, and especially in that last quarter once we started to get on a roll. And I think Craig knew that he was probably playing worse than Bobby when we did sub him out. But we managed to keep him in just because structurally he's more important than Bobby Hill, and that's Bo McCreary. Had a pretty good last quarter, but apart from that, I don't think he was even cited. But just structurally, he's just so important to what we do. Oleg Markov as well. I thought structurally he was pretty good down back, even though he only had the 8 touches. I don't think we can drop him. And we're winning games. We just can't really drop him, can we? Playing pretty well. Structurally played a really good role for us yesterday, and yeah, hopefully for him he can stay in the side. And yeah, it was also good to see Mason Cox return back from injury, and Darcy Moore. Always forget to mention Darcy Moore. But yeah, very, very good. Again, Darcy Moore just so influential to our wins. Don't speak about him enough. But yeah, every single game he's played this season was sensational. Obviously last week played sick and was still sensational. But yeah, this game against Sydney also, against Buddy, was very, very good. Now, apart from all that, there is another thing I want to talk about, and that is the booing of Buddy Franklin. As a Collingwood fan myself, I was doing it a little bit, to admit, but it's still probably not right. I mean, again, it's like what happened in 2019 where Essendon fans booed Pendlebury on the big Anzac Day clash, and Buckley, called him out. Now John Longmire's technically doing the same thing. I get it. But yeah, again, why would you boo a champ? I know. But yeah, look, we've come out just recently saying that we've apologised to Sydney and Buddy. And you're gonna get that from Collingwood fans, aren't you? And even any fans. I guess Buddy's had some interesting history against us in the past, especially at Hawthorn, and I'd just say most of our fans wouldn't like him. But then they were going on about it being similar to the treatment to Adam Goods, and look, it's definitely not that. It's just the club getting a little bit overexcited and booing him. I don't think there's too much to be concerned about. It's just that, say this week we play GWS. If we boo Toby Green, then we will get shit from the AFL. If he's playing, that is. I'm not 100% sure about that, actually. So that could be a big factor to we win or not. Because, to be honest, I'm not that confident. GWS are a pretty good team this year. And they're definitely one that's even sneaky, maybe for finals. Probably not, though. Probably not. Probably got like a 20% chance of making finals. But that was like Gold Coast last year, wasn't it? So, anyways. But yeah. If we boo Toby Green next week, we'll probably get a lot of shit for it. I could imagine most of our fans booing him, yes. But then again, what's he done to us? Apart from 2019, I don't think he was even playing in that game when GWS beat us in the prelim final. We're not going to boo Toby Green. I would never boo Toby Green because I think he's a great player. Obviously, same with Buddy, but then again, I was booing him a bit, but it's just over exciting. I'm blabbering around here. But yeah, thanks for watching the review. Stay tuned for next week, where my review will come out again, same time, against the Giants.